why it's so important to be disciplined. Why is discipline such an important thing that you need in your life specifically? And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why discipline itself, if you do not have it, you cannot succeed. If you're new to my YouTube channel, my name is Miguel. I'm 20 years old. I own a coaching business and a marketing company that I've been growing. And throughout my whole channel, I've been constantly showing, giving out game just for free, just for fun, and just showing my lifestyle. You can see from my videos from the very beginning where I started and where I'm at now. And I'm just vlogging my progress because I want to show people that you are absolutely capable of achieving anything that you truly desire. But it's all up to you. How do you even be disciplined? Why is it so important? And what happened in my life that had to have that? And I'm going to tell you, when I was around, like I said, 16 or 17 years old, I owned multiple businesses. I had a pressure washing business, pressure washing business. I had a clothing brand business, a painting business, and a construction business. And I used to do that because I graduated when COVID hit, and I graduated in 1 year, so I had nothing else to do but work. And so my life was pretty trash. And I also did wholesaling. But my life was pretty trash because I wasn't consistent with anything. I would actually work for 2-3 months. I would have my cards, my flyers, I would have it all. But I wasn't succeeding. I wasn't achieving anything. I wasn't winning anything. I absolutely was terrible at these things because I would just quit when things get a little bit slightly too uncomfortable. And it got to a point where it wasn't only that, but I was listening to the people around me. People were telling me, hey, I think that's just stupid of you to do that or this or that. Mind you, these are people that are 50 years old, still working at a 9-to-5 job. Who the fuck are they to tell me what I can and cannot do? But anyways, throughout my life, I didn't have that discipline that was programmed in me because I lived in an environment where people were just living in such a low frequency, such a low environment that everybody was negative. My work job is completely negative. Everybody hates everything. They don't want to achieve or accomplish anything. And if you do try to accomplish or achieve something, they just make fun of you. Everybody made fun of me for the stuff that I was doing. Think I was wasting my time. But I'm going to tell you this. Every problem that you go through life is what creates you as a character. If it wasn't for the failures of all those businesses in my life, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have learned what discipline is that about. And now that I'm capable of actually sharing my stuff and my story and what I'm going through, and I still go through shit day to day, I want to be able to show people that you are not alone and that you are capable of achieving things. And I want to be able to uplift people. Let's say that, yeah. Uplift people in life and show people that you're absolutely capable of achieving anything. I want you to take all my lessons and all my mistakes and use it at your own advantage of whatever it is that you're truly desiring trying to be. Anyways, you've seen all my shitty parts. Now today, like I said, I own a coaching and marketing business. My marketing business is actually doing very, very well. I have multiple people that are working with me now, and it's slowly but surely growing to the point where I'm quitting my job very soon. You'll see, and I talked on a lot of my videos. I was telling myself that I am going to be quitting. I had this type of confidence since day one, and that I'm moving out. You will see me move out. I'm telling you. All the shit that I say, I speak it to it in existence. And you'll see how my life is going to constantly change because there's two factors. There's manifestation, which is the most important thing. And I think a lot of people are very spiritually and they're doing their things. And the other thing is discipline, is actually working towards it. You cannot just expect that a lump of gold just to fall on you. God cannot meet you halfway if you can't meet halfway with him. And so you need to remember that. And I think that's my issue, what I've been through, where I used to be very, very spiritual, but I wasn't disciplined. I never really worked hard towards nothing. And so that was the only puzzle piece and the limiting factor that was slowing me down. But anyways, how do you even become disciplined? How do you create this and make it in a way where it's now a part of your life? And I'm gonna tell you this: the moment that you are disciplined, life gets so much more easy. Making these videos, doing work, focusing on my business is such a natural thing. It's like taking a shower, it's like brushing the teeth. It's normal to me. It doesn't feel hard anymore. Matter of fact, I enjoy it now. Even though at first my feelings, for me, it was like, this shit sucks. Got to a point where I rewired myself. And this is how you're going to do it. You're going to rewire yourself. Now, in a scientific way, there's a thing in your brain called the meningeulate. If I say meningeulate, or something that's called MCC, which is the short term. I hope y'all can see this. I wish I can fucking post this, but like I said, I have so much shit all over my room, I can't even put it on the fucking wall. But very soon I will. But there's a thing called MCC, which is, think about it like a computer. And in that computer is what you do day-to-day life in. So let's say in that day-to-day life, because for me, I still work. Let's say I wake up at 6:30 to go to work. After that, I work on my business. After that, I go to the gym. And then after that, I go to bed at 10 or 11. Now, obviously, in your brain, the computer that you have within you is much more than just this. But this is just kind of a demonstration. And so this thing, the MCC, is what creates willpower. And the willpower is what creates actions. So, whatever is programmed in your mind is what creates the willpower, which creates the actions of what you do day to day, is what makes you wake up at a certain time, whether it's you waking up late or waking it up in a responsible way. It's when you take a shower. It's when you make your bed. It's when you go to the gym. All these things are factors that you've programmed inside your computer. Now, how do you program a new computer, a new system that's the one that you want? How can you download that new game that you've always desired to play, but that you can't because it's too much capacity? The thing is, in our computer, there's only a certain amount of gigabytes. And so in our brain, there's only a certain amount of gigabytes we can have. And the only way we can create new things is by deleting the old ones and creating new ones. And so, how do you create a new system and delete your old version of yourself or the old routines that you have? Let's say this one was specifically waking up late. Now I am waking up at 5:45, whatever the case may be. How do I eliminate this and I put this? The way you erase something is, and let's say this is little old you, and this bubble is your comfort. That's your comfort zone. You have to step off of your uncomfort zone to get into the next bubble here, which is your new version. Now, a lot of people say, well, I struggle with that. Sometimes I want to change. I want to do all these things, but I'm trying my best, but it's so hard. I always go right back to where I'm at. Well, I'm going to show you how you can do this in such a much more easier way that has benefited me and that has helped a lot of people in my life to be completely different, to change automatically and easily. And I'm going to show you how. Think about this and truly visualize what discipline is about. Imagine discipline is a pool that's very, very, very cold. If you dip your toes into that cold water, what do any logical person does? Oh shit, that shit was actually cold. You kind of dip in, that made you uncomfortable. You're like, oh shit, I'm not getting in that water. And so what happens is you repel back. Now it repels back to, let's say, your old version of yourself. You go right back to your belt because it's like, what the fuck? I'm going right back inside of the house because I'm not going in that fucking pool. Well, what happens if you jump into the pool? When you jump into the pool, and I think a lot of people has done this before, maybe you're at the beach, maybe the temperature, and this is the part that we're going to talk about, is the temperature. Maybe the pool here, the temperature is cold, but I'm able to just jump in. If I decide, you know what, if I jump in, eventually my temperature is going to raise up and it's going to align with it. It's not going to be so bad. So, you know, when I would do that, you know, especially if you've jumped into a pool full of cold water at the beach and it's cold, at first it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be like, what the fuck? But eventually when you move around a little bit and you kind of just, you know, heat up a little bit, eventually your body starts to adapt with that cold water. And eventually it just feels normal. It's something you can go right back into it. Even though it's cold, you can just go right back into the pool. Not a problem. You've already adjusted yourself. And so the thing is, a lot of people are expecting to completely change completely into whatever version of it is. And let's say, for an example, your version is to become much more healthy. What you're doing is you're making that water much more colder every time when you expect yourself to do all these things all at once. What you're doing is making the water so unbearable that when you jump in, you're going to be like, fuck this. And you go right back to that old version of yourself because you haven't turned up the temperature of the pool. And because you haven't turned up that temperature, it's unbearable. You're not going to jump in. That's hella cold. But the moment that you start to adjust the temperature of the water is the moment you can be like, well, that's not so bad. Then it's much more easier to jump into the pool and stay inside of the pool. And so how do you adjust the temperature of the pool? Well, I'm going to tell you, you're trying to get healthy. You need to break down what is that new version of yourself being healthy. Break it down specifically. What does this healthy person do? Remember, you cannot expect yourself to take creatine, take protein, at the same time track your macros, at the same time making sure that you're taking your calories right, at the same time making sure that you're going 5 days a week to the gym. You cannot expect yourself to jump in all these things all at once. So what you do is you break down all of those things. As soon as you finally broke down everything that you see yourself doing as a healthy person, what you do is you pick one. This is going to be your new goal. This is going to be what I call a checkpoint. Like every, Mario, Super Mario, where you would defeat certain levels and eventually you'll get to the castle. And that castle will be the end goal, which is being healthy. The new version of yourself being healthy. And so each checkpoint is specifically like this. And so right here, we have eating good. Just by doing this, you're not focusing on going to the gym. You're not focusing on taking all these calories. Right now, you're just adjusting yourself, trying to eat a little better. You just adjusted the temperature of the pool slightly a little bit more warmer, which makes it much more easier to get out of your uncomfort zone. But let's say that is still too cold. You know what you can do? You can still break this down even more. And so what does eating good, what do you see yourself eating good? Well, I see myself just drinking water, so on, so forth. I hope everybody understands what I'm trying to say. Guess what you do? This is what you're only going to be focusing on. And let's say I'm going to decide, you know what? You can make it as small. You can keep continuing this to the point where it's so simple that when you touch that pool of water, it's hot, it's warm. It's like this is nothing. I can even just walk inside the pool. It's not a problem. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. People make things in life so fucking complicated. They expect that they need to get this, like I said, they need to do all these things all at once. I'm going to tell you this. The small little things is what makes the biggest impact, especially if you're doing it consistently. There was a thing where someone said before, and you can actually just calculate this. If you read 10 pages every single day for the next 365 days, that's about 3,650 pages, which is roughly around 12 to 15 books. Now, I'm not no fucking book reader, but I can most definitely read 10 pages without a problem. Eventually, that shit will add up. Eventually, that shit... And with 12 to 15 books, you know how much knowledge I can learn from those books just itself? There you go. So let's say, for example, like I said, drinking water, but my goal for this checkpoint of drinking water is trying to maintain it for 7 days. All right, for 7 days. That's so fucking easy. The water's fucking hot. I can just jump in. I'm going to be chilling. I can swim, whatever. Cool. Guess what happens when you start taking this and you start doing this? This is the checkpoint. The moment you finish this and you start to complete all these things, eventually you start to complete the first checkpoint, which is drinking water. Now you're drinking water. But guess what happens inside your computer? It starts to rewire itself. The moment you start to do something different and you do it for a long period of time, it completely rewires your brain to the point like it's a normal routine. Just like when you first get, when you're finding a job and you finally get the job, it might be, you need to wake up at 8, let's say for an example, 8 o'clock. The moment you start to wake up, you set the alarm, you wake up, eventually, sooner or later, you start to adjust yourself. It might suck the first fucking week. It might be like, God damn, I'm gonna wake up at 8 o'clock because it's normal. It's normal to you. It's not normal to you waking up at this time because you've never had a job. This is the first time you're having a job and you're waking up at this time. It's uncomfortable at first. But maybe, give or take, maybe a week or two, eventually you just adjust. And it's like, okay, you wake up, you're 8 o'clock, you're getting your clothes, getting everything ready to go, and you go straight to work. Not a problem. Now it's a part of your routine. You do it day to day. It's something that you do. The same thing. If you wake up and you do all these things, you have to brush your teeth, you have to take a shower, whatever you fucking do, whatever you have to do before you go to work. You already have all of this planned out because it's already a part of that routine. And so what happens is you just rewired yourself of drinking water. What is next? This is what's so amazing, what's so beautiful, is that how we have such a big capacity that we're able to adjust and completely change, completely different, to the point that we're unrecognizable. This is the thing. After I completed this checkpoint, I just completed the checkpoint of drinking water. What is the next goal of what I see myself eating good? Going to the gym now. And so then you make it smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where it's like, the pool is hot. I can just jump in. You start going to the gym. You say to yourself, I'm going to go to the gym just Monday. Every Monday after work, I'm going to go to the gym. It might sound so stupid and be like, that's easy. Go do it. Eventually, that starts to adjust yourself. You're going every Monday to the gym like it's nothing. Then you say to yourself, I'm going to go now do this 3 times every week. Go do that. Boom. Now it becomes normal. A certain amount of time, it becomes so normal, so easy, that now you're doing it 3 times a week without a problem. And it gets to the point where you're now going 5 days a week without a problem. Boom, you just completed a checkpoint of going to the gym. Oh shit, I can't even fucking spell. Going to the gym. And it gets to the point that every little bit you start to complete to the point that this whole thing, you finally start to not only eat good, you're going to the gym, you're doing all these things. Now, it gets to the point, I need a fucking rag. This fucking eraser sucks. But it gets to the point that you're now healthy. It was this fucking simple. The moment you start to break down piece by piece, and guess what? It gets programmed inside of your mind. Now, you have a new system. And that new system is being healthy. Guess what happens? That MCC, which is in your brain, pushes that out, which creates the willpower, which the willpower creates the actions that you do day to day. Guess what? Now going to the gym, eating good, checking your calories, doing the right amount of macros that you have to eat, doing all these things are so easy, so simple, that now it's a part of your life. That is how you create a winning strategy. That's how people win. It's not about just jumping into it and running and sprinting as fast as you can possibly can when you start the race. You don't do that. People don't just start running. They start pacing themselves a little bit. And eventually when they see the finish line a little bit, then they start running. Because they're trying to exert all that energy that they have. You don't want to waste all your energy all at once, because guess what happens? You get exhausted. The same thing. You will get exhausted if you do too many things all at once, because you've never done all those things all at once. You can't handle that pressure. It's like trying to put too much power on an old CPU, on an old computer that is not capable to handle it. And so that right there, my ladies and gentlemen, is how you become disciplined. And I'm gonna tell you this, bro. It is that simple. I don't want people to think like there's more to it. I don't want people. This is the thing. I feel like a lot of people, like I say, make things too complicated. It's that simple. The moment you start to take actions towards these things and really follow what I'm trying to say, break down everything that you want, is the moment that you start to change. Guess what? When you look back at this video in the next month or two, tell me in the comments what has changed. I'm going to tell you, and I'm for sure 100% positive, you will not be the same person you were the moment you start to actually break it down and taking it little by little. It's always better to take 1 foot forward than taking 10 steps, because you will go back. You will exhaust yourself. It will put you at a pause, and then you won't continue. I'm telling you, the moment you start taking that 1 foot forward and you start taking this shit serious, bro, you're gonna be a fucking winner. I'm telling you. And then people are gonna look at you like, what the fuck? It's like when you see someone at the gym and they're benching 345. You're like, God damn, that motherfucker's strong. I can't do that. Yeah, you can't do it because you can't see yourself handle all that shit all at once. You can't see yourself because you're like, that's too much fucking power. But if you actually took your time, you worked out consistently every single day, eventually you will be capable of benching 345 if you truly desire doing that. Anyways, y'all, if you like this video, leave a like. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, put it in the comments. I will gladly be able to answer any questions for you. And yeah, that'd be all.